So is sugar the enemy? Do you actually need to give it up forever if you want to lose weight and keep it off? Well, if you've ever asked yourself that question or even done that, attempted that, then I hope you'll stick around, because that's what we're going to be talking about on this episode of Live Free TV. I'm Emily Quisenberry, and I am a holistic weight loss coach, and I help women learn how to lose weight and get healthy, fit, and strong in their body, their soul, and their spirit, so that they learn how to ditch the yo-yo diet cycle, so that they heal their relationship with food, they learn how to appreciate their body, and they really begin to live freely and lightly in this area of their life. And I don't necessarily mean the number on the scale or the size of your jeans, though that will come through this process. And so if we've never been connected before, I'm super glad that you're here. I also hope that you'll consider subscribing. I put out a new episode and a freebie almost every week. That way you can take what I am talking about and really integrate it into your life so that you begin to see change. Before we get started, I really want you to know about the freebie this week, and that is the Guide to Sugar and Fat Loss. You can pick that up. If you're watching this on my blog, click on the orange button below the video. If you're watching it on YouTube, there will be a link in the description box. And you can also pick it up at emilyquisenberry.com/20. That would be emilyquisenberry.com/20. Okay, let's get going with today's training. So, is sugar the enemy? And do you need to give it up completely to be able to lose weight and keep it off? You don't have to spend much time around women and talking about diets before you're going to hear that conversation come up about sugar. And that I hear women all the time say they're addicted to sugar and that they do need to give it up. They need to go cold turkey and not eat it at all in order to lose weight. And I actually used to be a person that thought that very thing and would actually try that approach. And I'm going to just tell you what happened in my life, and maybe you can relate to that, is that I would completely cut it out, and I would be successful for a while until something happened. And that something could be anything from a negative, like stress or worry or fear or just something bad happening. Or it could even be something positive, like a birthday or a vacation or going out with your friends to celebrate something. And the moment that I would eat that sugar, I would feel like I was a failure and like all of my effort that I had put in was out the window, and why even continue trying? And then it would send me over from that restriction over to overeating and binging on it, because I had become so rigid in how I felt about sugar. Now, that may or may not be something that you resonate with, but if it is, I really want to encourage you to and invite you to maybe expand your thinking about sugar. So the truth is, we are not really addicted to sugar, because if we were, we would go to our pantry and we would pull out the bag of sugar, brown sugar, white sugar, and we would just start eating it. And that's not what we do. We are actually eating foods that are highly palatable, that taste really, really good, that I would call, I learned this from a friend of mine, Elisa Keaton, a shadowy food. It doesn't really have any nutritional value in it, or very little. It tastes really, really good. And it's something that, again, has a lot of sugar and probably fat in, and not anything that's really going to be substantial that's going to help us feel our very best. So what I have found is when women say, I'm going to restrict sugar, what they really mean is, I'm going to restrict any highly palatable food that would fit that kind of category. And so that would be cupcakes, cookies, candy, any kind of baked item, and ice cream, any kind of desserts, those types of things. And those would be the things that we would ban. And what I have noticed in my own journey is that when I make very specific decisions about certain types of food and saying that they are off limits or they are banned from my diet, is actually a very dangerous place for me. Because what it does, if we think about eating food and eating and living in a healthy way, it's like thinking about walking down the middle of a road. And now we've got a ditch on this side and we've got a ditch on this side. Well, when I make those kinds of really declarative statements that I'm going to cut sugar out, it's the enemy and it's the problem, and then in this ditch of restriction. And I've set myself into kind of a box that I cannot have that. That is bad. It is wrong. And it is going to cause me to fail. Well, once I step over and out of that ditch over to actually consuming it again, it actually does a number on me in my head. So what I have come to realize is that my maybe issue with sugar is more of an issue in my head than it is like an actual addiction. It is what it does to me psychologically because of what I have said about it and made it to be, which is the enemy. And when I go from the ditch of restriction over to the ditch of maybe eating it, I can very quickly spiral because I feel like I failed. So why keep trying? I believe that many of us find ourselves on this roller coaster of restricting and then going over and binging out on sugar, feeling so bad, feeling full of shame, and then trying to heavily restrict again so that we can be okay and get back to eating good and stop eating bad. But I'm going to tell you, there is a better way. I would invite you to consider that the shadowy, highly palatable foods are definitely not something that we want to be consuming the vast majority of our diet from. But I would say that 80 to 90% of what we eat in a day, we're going to serve our bodies best. We're going to be able to lose fat. We're going to feel good. We get fit and healthy and strong if we're eating 80 to 90% of whole foods or foods of substance, foods that have lots of vitamins and minerals in them, foods that make us feel full. And then the other 10 to 20% is from those shadowy, highly palatable foods. Candy, cookies, cake, maybe even alcohol, desserts. Again, 10 to 20%. And so when we eliminate that thinking that sugar is the enemy and we realize I can have this today and I can have it tomorrow and I can have it the day after that and the day after that, it loses its hold on us from thinking all or nothing. And that's what I want for you. So I want you to pick up the guide to sugar and fat loss because I'm going to go into a little bit more detail about how you can reframe your thinking around this topic and around this element in food so that you will start to feel more free and light in your soul, which I promise you will begin to impact your body. Because God tells us in His Word that He transforms us from the inside out. So go pick up the guide. On the blog, it's going to be the orange button below the video. On YouTube, it's a link in the description box. And you can also go to emilyquisenberry.com/20. That's emilyquisenberry.com/20. Please work through the guide. And if you have questions, please ask. I am here to help you. I would love to hear your thoughts. So please drop a comment below on the blog post. You can do that at the bottom, or on YouTube, you can do it in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching. I truly hope you found value. And if you have, please share it with somebody. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Be blessed.